dawn on July 27, 2025, Russia launched what it believed would be a decisive armored assault from captured Ukrainian territory. 50 tanks, 30 armored vehicles, and waves of suicide drones roared toward the front in Donetsk. But what Moscow didn't know was that Ukraine had been waiting silently, patiently preparing the ground for weeks. What began as Russia's most ambitious mechanized strike in months ended in disaster within just 85 minutes. This wasn't just another battle, it was a masterclass in deception, patience, and precision. The buildup. For months, Russian forces had been using former Ukrainian bases deep inside occupied Donetsk as staging grounds. By midsummer, their preparations pointed to one inevitable conclusion: a large-scale offensive designed to punch through Ukrainian lines before autumn rains slowed maneuver warfare. On July 27, that plan went into motion. At exactly 6:40 a.m., satellite imagery confirmed a massive armored column leaving a captured base. This was no feint or probing attack, it was a full invasion thrust. Leading the charge were 70 suicide drones, programmed to smash Ukrainian defensive positions and carve safe corridors for the armor behind them. Following closely were 50 T-90 tanks, 30 armored carriers, and more than 700 infantry troops advancing in tight formation. Western analysts estimated the cost of this offensive at more than $350 million, a gamble Moscow hoped would shatter Ukraine's front line. But as the columns advanced, every move was being tracked. Ukrainian generals had been expecting this assault and had prepared something far more devastating than Russia anticipated: the trap. Under the direction of General Mykola Shevchenko, Ukraine's 93rd Mechanized Brigade had transformed a 3-square-mile stretch of farmland into a lethal minefield. More than 4,200 anti-tank mines lay buried beneath soil, crops, and dirt roads. The layout was deliberate: staggered formations to delay, confuse, and destroy, with narrow, safe lanes intentionally left open to funnel Russian armor into kill zones. But the trap was almost compromised. Just before dawn, a Ukrainian supply truck nearly veered into the minefield, misreading coordinates. At the last second, a drone operator spotted the error and radioed a warning. The driver stopped just 6 feet from triggering a catastrophic chain reaction. The margin between disaster and success was razor thin. At 6:47 a.m., the Russian spearhead reached the minefield. Within the first 4 minutes, 17 tanks were torn apart by massive underground blasts. Turrets flew skyward like twisted debris from a volcanic eruption. Panic rippled through the Russian column. Drivers attempted to steer into the safe lanes, but were met with sensor-activated mines detonating beneath them. What followed was not just destruction, it was psychological warfare, the counterattack. As the minefield erupted, Ukrainian UAVs fed real-time targeting data to commanders. At 7:15 a.m., Ukraine unleashed the second stage of the ambush, a 3-pronged counterattack. From concealed positions west of the battlefield, the 12th Armored Assault Battalion advanced with 32 T-84 Oplot tanks, self-propelled artillery, and mobile air defense systems. The Russian column, already disoriented, was now caught between exploding ground and advancing Ukrainian armor. Within 90 seconds, 9 more Russian tanks were reduced to burning husks. Survivors attempted to regroup, but Ukrainian guns were already zeroed in. Above, Russian suicide drones dove toward the advancing Ukrainian tanks in a desperate bid to turn the tide. But Ukraine was ready. Mounted Shkval 6 rotary cannons opened fire, spitting 4,000 rounds per minute, shredding drone after drone. In less than 4 minutes, 47 UAVs were shot down midair. The survivors veered off course, jammed by Ukrainian electronic warfare. The infantry strike. By 7:35 a.m., Russia's offensive was unraveling. That's when the final blow came. From trenches, farmhouses, and tree lines, 850 Ukrainian infantry troops emerged. Divided into fire teams, they unleashed RPGs, sniper fire, and precision strikes on command vehicles and troop carriers. One Russian ammo truck detonated in a fireball that lit the sky for hundreds of meters. Snipers with thermal optics picked off squad leaders, leaving units directionless. Chaos descended as more than 110 Russian soldiers were killed or incapacitated within 6 minutes. Those who fled ran directly into Ukrainian scouts who had flanked the column hours earlier, cutting off retreat routes. Then came the prize. In the wreckage of a damaged command vehicle, Ukrainian troops found a wounded officer. A biometric scan confirmed his identity: Colonel Viktor Semyonovich, commander of Russia's 42nd Armored Regiment. Captured along with encrypted data drives and combat orders, his seizure was described by intelligence officers as the single most valuable capture of the war since 2023. The collapse. By 8:05 a.m., less than 90 minutes after the assault began, the Russian offensive had completely unraveled. What was supposed to be a decisive push turned into a catastrophe. Ukrainian defenses, sharpened by intelligence and months of preparation, destroyed 42 Russian vehicles in rapid succession. More than 200 soldiers were neutralized in the chaos, and to make matters worse for Moscow, a regimental commander was captured along with the vital intelligence he carried. Instead of a breakthrough, Russia faced one of its most humiliating defeats in recent months. The battlefield told the story better than any official statement. Satellite imagery and drone footage revealed rows of burned-out tanks, scorched armored carriers, and twisted wreckage scattered across mine-laced terrain. Russian troops who survived the initial ambush abandoned their vehicles, fleeing in disarray across open fields. The once feared armored columns that Moscow had relied on for intimidation now lay silent, reduced to smoldering ruins under Ukraine's relentless strikes. The scene was not just evidence of destruction, it was a symbol of Russia's eroding battlefield dominance. This was not only a tactical success, but also a psychological and strategic turning point. Russia's aura of armored invincibility built on decades of military posturing was shattered in a single morning. Moscow's war machine was not unstoppable, and with the right preparation and timing, it could be broken. For Ukrainian forces and their allies, the collapse was more than a win. It was proof that resilience and precision could outmatch sheer numbers. The message. In Washington, retired U.S. generals quickly recognized the ambush as a masterclass in modern warfare, an operation built on patience, timing, and discipline. Rather than relying on sheer missile barrages, Ukraine allowed the Russian column to stretch thin, exposing its flanks, and then dismantled it with a calculated layered defense. Every move was deliberate, every strike chosen for maximum effect. What impressed observers most was not just Ukraine's firepower, but its restraint. The decision to hold back until the precise moment revealed a deeper truth about warfare. Strength lies not only in weapons, but in the ability to think, wait, and strike with surgical precision. On the ground, Ukrainian medics still treated captured and wounded Russians, a stark reminder that beyond the strategy, this war is fought by human beings, fathers, sons, and neighbors, pulled into battles they never asked for. This was more than the destruction of a Russian column. It was a message to the world. Resilience, intelligence, and controlled power can outweigh brute force. For Ukraine, it was not just a battlefield success, but proof that modern warfare is being rewritten, not by numbers, but by mastery. The morning of July 27, 2025 will be remembered as one of Russia's costliest failures and one of Ukraine's most brilliant defensive victories. In just 85 minutes, a $350 million assault was reduced to wreckage, and a regiment's commander was taken prisoner. But what do you think? Was this the turning point in the Donetsk campaign, or just one chapter in a much longer war? Let me know in the comments. And if you found this analysis valuable, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more detailed breakdowns of the battles shaping our world today.